The Discovery. Amelia Samuels, captain of the exploration vessel Pegasus, gazed pensively at the swirling nebula beyond the viewport. With a crew of 20, the ship's mission was simple: map uncharted sectors and investigate any anomalies or signals. On this particular sweep, however, a distress call originating from an unidentified ship had piqued Amelia's curiosity. "Captain," came the voice of her communications officer, "I've isolated the signal. It's coming from a small vessel approximately 2 light-years away." Amelia nodded, her decision already made. Set a course, maximum speed, and keep scanning for any other ships in the area. This could be a trap. As the Pegasus drew near the coordinates, the mysterious ship came into view on the main display. It was unlike anything Amelia had seen before, sleek and crystalline, with an ethereal glow emanating from within. Scans showed minimal power readings and no sign of life. Amelia assembled an away team, determined to investigate the ship herself. As they cautiously boarded the alien vessel, an eerie silence greeted them. The corridors were dark, illuminated only by the soft pulsing of unfamiliar technology. It was the medical officer, Dr. Elias Novak, who made the shocking discovery. In what appeared to be the ship's med bay, a single cryogenic pod stood intact amidst the derelict equipment. Inside, suspended in a shimmering liquid, was the small form of an alien child. Amelia approached the pod, her heart racing. The child, a girl who appeared to be no more than 6 years old, had delicate, almost ethereal features. Her skin was a pale lavender, her hair a shimmering silver. Dr. Novak examined the readouts on the pod's control panel. "Captain, these readings. I've never seen anything like this. Her vital signs are strong, but she's in some kind of deep stasis." Amelia faced a critical decision. The protocol was clear. Any unknown alien life form was to be reported and left in the hands of the proper authorities. But something about this child, alone and vulnerable, stirred a powerful protectiveness in Amelia. She turned to her crew, her voice steady with resolve. "We're bringing her back to the Pegasus. Dr. Novak, do whatever you can to ensure her safety during the transfer." As the away team carefully moved the cryogenic pod to the Pegasus, Amelia couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than a simple rescue mission. The child's presence raised countless questions. Who was she, and what calamity had befallen her ship? Back aboard the Pegasus, Dr. Novak worked tirelessly to stabilize the girl's condition. Amelia remained by the child's side, watching over her as she slept, wondering what secrets she held. It was 3 days later when the girl finally stirred, her violet eyes fluttering open to take in her unfamiliar surroundings. Amelia was there, offering a gentle smile and a reassuring hand. "Hello," Amelia said softly. "You're safe now. My name is Amelia. Can you tell me yours?" The girl blinked, confusion and fear evident on her delicate features. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came forth, only a soft, melodic hum. Amelia's heart swelled with compassion. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew one thing for certain: she would protect this child, no matter the cost. The lonely alien girl had found an unlikely guardian in the depths of space, and their journey was only just beginning. Secrets unraveled. In the weeks following the alien girl's awakening, Amelia devoted herself to unraveling the mystery surrounding her young charge. With the help of Dr. Novak and the ship's linguists, they worked to establish communication, teaching the child English while attempting to decipher her own melodic language. Progress was slow, but the girl, who they had taken to calling Zara, a name meaning blooming flower, proved to be a quick study. As her grasp of English grew, so too did the bond between her and Amelia. It was during one of their language sessions that Zara finally revealed a glimpse into her past. "Hone," she said, pointing to a star map on the display. "Cortex." Amelia leaned in, studying the map intently. The star system Zara indicated was uncharted, deep in a region of space known as the ethereal expanse. Amelia had heard whispers of the Cortex Empire, a powerful and technologically advanced civilization, but little was known about them. Zara, Amelia asked gently, why were you alone on that ship? What happened to your people? Zara's eyes glistened with unshed tears. War, she whispered. Bad people. Wanted to hurt me. Mother and father sent me away to keep me safe. The Cortex Empire. The Cortex Empire is a powerful, technologically advanced civilization located in the ethereal expanse, a largely uncharted region of space. Little is known about the Cortex by the galactic community at large, as they tend to keep to themselves and rarely engage in diplomacy with other species. Key facts. The Cortex are known for their ethereal appearance, with pale, lustrous skin and shimmering hair. Their technology is said to be highly advanced, particularly in the areas of energy manipulation and bioengineering. The Cortex possess unique abilities, such as telepathy and energy projection, which are believed to be the result of their advanced genetic engineering. The Empire is ruled by a monarchy, with power passing down through the royal bloodline. In recent years, rumors have circulated about a civil war brewing within the Cortex Empire, though details are scarce. Amelia's heart ached for the child. She couldn't begin to imagine the trauma Zara had endured, torn from her family and sent into the vastness of space alone. As the weeks turned into months, Zara began to exhibit signs of her unique Cortex heritage. She displayed an uncanny aptitude for technology, able to interface with the Pegasus systems in ways that astounded the crew. More remarkable still were the moments when objects would float around her, moved by an unseen force. Dr. Novak ran tests, confirming what Amelia had begun to suspect. Zara possessed extraordinary abilities, likely the result of her species' advanced genetics. Telekinesis, telepathy, and energy manipulation were just the beginning. It was these very abilities that had made Zara a target in a home system. As the pieces fell into place, Amelia realized the true weight of the responsibility she had taken on. Zara wasn't just any child. She was a princess, the key to the future of the Cortex Empire. Amelia knew that keeping Zara's presence on the Pegasus a secret was paramount. If word got out, it would only be a matter of time before those who sought to exploit Zara's powers would come for her. As Zara grew more comfortable in her new surroundings, Amelia took it upon herself to guide the girl, not just as a guardian, but as a mentor. She saw in Zara a brilliant and compassionate soul, one who could someday bridge the gap between their two cultures. But even as their bond deepened, Amelia couldn't shake the sense of foreboding that hung over them. The Cortex Civil War, the desperation that had driven Zara's parents to send her away, these were not matters that would simply fade away. Sooner or later, Amelia knew, the past would catch up to them. For now, however, Amelia focused on the present, on nurturing the remarkable child who had become the center of her world. Together, they would face whatever challenges the universe saw fit to throw their way, united by a love that transcended the bounds of species and space. Growing bond. As the Pegasus continued its mission, mapping uncharted sectors of space, Zara slowly adapted to her new life. Amelia found herself spending more and more time with the girl, not just overseeing her education, but enjoying her company. Zara possessed an infectious curiosity about the universe around her. She would spend hours in the ship's library, absorbing knowledge with a speed that left the crew in awe. Her favorite subject was the stars themselves, the stories behind the constellations, the science of stellar life cycles. Amelia took it upon herself to nurture Zara's passions. She arranged for the girl to shadow different members of the crew, learning about everything from astrogation to engineering. Zara soaked it up like a sponge, her unique perspective often leading to breakthroughs that surprised even the most seasoned officers. In the evenings, Amelia and Zara would often sit in the observation lounge, gazing out at the wonders of space. It was during these quiet moments that Zara would open up, sharing fragmentary memories of her life before. She spoke of the towering spires of her family's palace, of the shimmering gardens where she would play. She described the Cortex's unique abilities, how they could communicate telepathically and manipulate energy fields. But there was a sadness in her voice, too, when she recounted the growing unrest in her empire. There were those who wanted to use our powers for war, she confided to Amelia one night. My parents stood against them. That's why I had to go away. Amelia's heart ached for the child. The weight of an entire civilization had been placed on her small shoulders. She vowed to do everything in her power to protect Zara, to give her the childhood she deserved. As the months passed, Zara's abilities continued to grow. She could move larger objects with her mind now, and her telepathic range had expanded to cover the entire ship. At times, it frightened Amelia, the sheer scope of Zara's potential, but she also saw how the girl struggled with control, with the fear of her own power. Amelia worked with Zara to develop techniques to manage her abilities. They practiced meditation, focusing exercises, anything to help Zara feel more in command. And slowly, the incidence of accidental telekinesis or telepathic projection began to decrease. It was during one of these training sessions that the first sign of trouble appeared. Zara was concentrating on forming a small energy sphere between her hands when she suddenly stiffened, her eyes widening in fear. Zara? Amelia asked, immediately on alert. What's wrong? They're coming, Zara whispered, her voice trembling. The rebels. They found me. Amelia felt a chill run down her spine. She had always known this day might come, but she had hoped they would have more time. She immediately called an emergency meeting with her senior officers. They had to prepare, to find a way to protect Zara. The Pegasus was a science vessel, not a warship. If it came to a fight, they would be outmatched. But as Amelia looked around at the determined faces of her crew, she felt a swell of pride. These were the best and brightest the galaxy had to offer, and they had all grown to care for Zara as one of their own. They would stand together, no matter the odds. As the meeting adjourned and preparations began in earnest, Amelia pulled Zara aside. She knelt down, taking the girl's hands in her own. Zara, I need you to know, no matter what happens, I will always protect you. You're more than just my charge, more than a princess. You're the daughter I never had, and I will fight for you until my last breath. Zara threw her arms around Amelia, hugging her tightly. In that moment, the bond between them was unbreakable, a connection forged in the heart of the stars themselves. But even as they held each other, both knew that their greatest challenge was yet to come. The shadows of Zara's past were closing in, and the Pegasus was about to be caught in the crosshairs of a conflict that could determine the fate of an entire empire. The gathering storm. Word of Zara's presence on the Pegasus soon reached the remnants of the Cortex Empire. A delegation arrived, led by a stern-faced woman who introduced herself as Chancellor Valar. Captain Samuels, Valar said, her voice cold and imperious. You have taken something that does not belong to you. Princess Zara is a ward of the Cortex Empire. She must be returned to us immediately. Amelia stood her ground, meeting Valar's gaze unflinchingly. With all due respect, Chancellor, Zara is not a piece of property to be handed over. She's a child, and her safety and well-being are my primary concern. Valar's eyes narrowed. You overstep your bounds, Captain. The princess is crucial to the stability of our empire. Her return could quell the uprising and prevent further bloodshed. Amelia shook her head. And what assurance do I have that she won't be used as a pawn in your political games? No, Zara stays with me until I can be certain she'll be safe. The meeting ended in a tense stalemate, with Valar storming off the Pegasus, warning of dire consequences if Zara was not returned. But the Cortex Empire was not the only faction interested in Zara. Rebel groups, seeking to overthrow the monarchy, saw the young princess as a potential weapon in their fight. Amelia found herself navigating a delicate web of diplomacy, trying to keep Zara out of the grasping hands of those who would use her for their own ends. She reached out to her contacts in the Galactic Council, seeking support and protection for her young ward. Meanwhile, life on the Pegasus grew increasingly tense. Security was tightened, with armed guards posted at Zara's quarters at all times. Amelia barely slept, constantly on alert for any sign of trouble. Zara, too, was feeling the strain. Her once vibrant curiosity was dampened by fear, and her nightmares had returned with a vengeance. Many nights, Amelia would find herself comforting the sobbing girl, promising her that everything would be all right. But even as she spoke the words, Amelia knew that a confrontation was inevitable. The factions vying for control of Zara were growing more desperate by the day, and it was only a matter of time before someone made a move. That move came sooner than anyone expected. Amelia was on the bridge when the alarms started blaring. The Pegasus was under attack. A rebel faction had managed to infiltrate the ship, determined to seize Zara by force. Amelia raced through the corridors, her heart pounding in her chest. She burst into Zara's quarters, only to find the room in chaos. The guards laid unconscious on the floor, and Zara was nowhere to be seen. A cold terror gripped Amelia's heart. She had failed. Despite all her precautions, despite all her promises, Zara had been taken. But even as despair threatened to overwhelm her, Amelia steeled herself. She would not give up. She would find Zara and bring her home, no matter the cost. Amelia rallied her crew, and they began a desperate search of the ship. They quickly discovered that the rebels had used stolen Cortex technology to teleport onto the Pegasus, and likely used the same method to escape with Zara. But the rebels had underestimated one thing: the strength of the bond between Amelia and Zara. Even as she was being dragged away, Zara reached out with her mind, sending a telepathic message to Amelia. "The nebula," Zara's voice whispered in Amelia's mind. "They're taking me to the Cerulean Nebula." Amelia wasted no time. She ordered a course set for the Cerulean Nebula, pushing the Pegasus to its limits. She knew they were flying into a trap, but she didn't care. All that mattered was getting Zara back. As they approached the swirling blue clouds of the nebula, they were immediately set upon by a fleet of rebel ships. The Pegasus shuddered under the onslaught, its shields straining to maintain integrity. Amelia gripped the arms of her chair, her knuckles white. "Hail them," she ordered through gritted teeth. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a scared and battle-hardened man. "Captain Samuels," he sneered, "you've flown right into our web. Hand over the princess, and we might let you live." Amelia's eyes flashed with anger. "You have one chance," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "Return Zara to me, unharmed, and I'll let you walk away. Refuse, and I'll tear your ships apart piece by piece." The rebel leader laughed. "You're in no position to make threats, Captain. We have the princess, and we have the superior firepower. Surrender or be destroyed." Amelia cut the communication. She turned to her crew, seeing the determination in their eyes. They knew the odds, but they were ready to fight. "Battle stations," Amelia commanded. "We're going in." The next minutes were a blur of chaos and fire. The Pegasus, though outgunned, fought with a ferocity born of desperation. They managed to punch through the rebel lines, but at a heavy cost. The ship was badly damaged, and many of the crew were injured. But Amelia refused to yield. With a daring maneuver, she brought the Pegasus alongside the rebel flagship, locking on with the docking clamps. She assembled a boarding party, determined to rescue Zara herself. As they fought their way through the rebel ship, Amelia could feel Zara's presence growing stronger. She was close, so close. Finally, they burst into the holding cell where Zara was being kept. The girl was huddled in the corner, her eyes wide with fear. But when she saw Amelia, a look of pure relief and love washed over her face. Amelia rushed to her, gathering the child in her arms. "I'm here," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I've got you. You're safe now." But even as they embraced, Amelia knew that their fight was far from over. The rebels would not give up easily, and the Cortex Empire was still a looming threat. As they made their way back to the Pegasus, Zara in Amelia's arms, the captain knew that everything had changed. The stakes were higher than ever, and the future was uncertain. But one thing was crystal clear: Amelia would do whatever it took to protect her daughter. For that's what Zara had become, not just her ward, but her child, the center of her universe. Together, they would face the gathering storm. Sacrifice. The escape from the rebel ship was a narrow one. Amelia and her boarding party fought their way back to the Pegasus, Zara safely in their midst. But the rebels were in hot pursuit, determined not to lose their prize. As soon as they were aboard, Amelia ordered a jump to hyperspace, hoping to leave the rebel fleet behind. But the Pegasus, already damaged from the earlier battle, was struggling to maintain the jump. "Captain," the chief engineer's voice came over the intercom, strained with urgency. "The hyperdrive can't take much more of this. If we don't drop out soon, it's going to blow." Amelia closed her eyes, weighing her options. If they dropped out of hyperspace now, the rebels would be on them in moments. But if they pushed on, they risked losing the ship entirely. In the end, Amelia made the only choice she could. "Drop us out," she ordered. "We'll have to make a stand." The Pegasus shuddered as it fell back into real space, the rebel fleet appearing on the scanners moments later. Amelia ordered the crew to battle stations, preparing for what she knew could be their last fight. But as the rebel ships closed in, a new contact appeared on the scanners. It was a Cortex warship, massive and bristling with advanced weaponry. For a moment, Amelia feared that they had fallen out of the frying pan and into the fire. But then a communication came through. It was Chancellor Valar. "Captain Samuels," she said, her voice tinged with a newfound respect. "It seems we have a common enemy. Allow us to assist you." Amelia hesitated, suspicion warring with necessity. But as the rebel ships opened fire, she knew she had no choice. "Very well, Chancellor. We'll fight together for now." The battle that followed was like nothing Amelia had ever experienced. The Cortex ship moved with a grace and power that was awe-inspiring, its advanced shields absorbing the rebel fire like it was nothing. But even with the Cortex's help, the rebels were a formidable foe. They managed to land several hits on the Pegasus, breaching the hull in multiple places. Amelia was in the thick of it, leading damage control teams, when a terrible realization struck her. In the chaos of the fight, she had lost track of Zara. Frantically, she reached out with the bond they shared, trying to sense the girl's presence. And there it was, a flicker of fear, coming from the direction of the breached sections. Amelia raced through the ship, her heart pounding. She found Zara in a damaged corridor, cornered by a group of rebel soldiers who had managed to board the Pegasus. Time seemed to slow as Amelia watched one of the rebels raise his weapon, aiming it directly at Zara. Without hesitation, she threw herself forward, shielding the girl with her own body. The blast hit Amelia in the back, searing pain ripping through her. She fell to the ground, her vision blurring. Zara screamed, a sound of pure anguish. And then something incredible happened. The girl began to glow, a brilliant white light emanating from her skin. She rose into the air, her hair whipping around her face, her eyes blazing with power. The rebels backed away, their faces etched with terror. Zara spoke, her voice amplified and echoing. "You will not harm my family." A wave of energy pulsed out from the girl, washing over the rebels. They crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Zara floated down to Amelia, the light around her fading. She knelt beside her fallen protector, tears streaming down her face. "Mom," she whispered, the word filled with a love and a sorrow beyond her years. "Please don't leave me." Amelia reached up, cupping Zara's cheek with a shaking hand. "Never," she breathed. "I will never leave you." And with those words, a calm settled over Amelia. She knew, with a certainty that defied explanation, that she would be all right, that they both would. As if in response to this realization, the ship-wide comms crackled to life. It was the voice of the tactical officer, filled with weary triumph. "Captain, the rebels are retreating. The Cortex ship has driven them off. We've won." Amelia closed her eyes, a small smile on her lips. They had won, yes. But more than that, they had found something worth fighting for, worth dying for. Family. As the Pegasus limped to safety, Amelia under the care of the medical team and Zara at her side, a new chapter was beginning. One filled with hope, with the promise of a brighter tomorrow. For in the heart of the stars, a mother and daughter had found each other, and nothing in the universe would ever tear them apart. A new hope. In the weeks that followed, much changed for Amelia and Zara. With the rebel threat quelled and a tentative alliance formed with the Cortex Empire, a new path had opened before them. Amelia, having recovered from her injuries under Dr. Novak's diligent care, found herself in a series of meetings with Chancellor Valar. The once adversarial leader had seen firsthand the depth of Amelia's commitment to Zara, and it had softened her stance. Captain Samuels, Valar said during one such meeting, "It's clear that Zara has found more than a protector in you. She's found a mother. And that bond, I believe, could be the key to a lasting peace between our peoples." Amelia was stunned by the proposal. It was more than she could have hoped for, a chance for Zara to connect with her Cortex heritage while still being raised by the mother she had chosen. But more than that, it was an opportunity to make a real difference, to use their unique bond to bridge the gap between two cultures, to foster understanding and build a lasting peace. Amelia looked to Zara, saw the hope and excitement shining in her eyes. "What do you think, little star? Ready for a new adventure?" Zara grinned, her face filled with a wisdom beyond her years. "With you by my side, Mom, I'm ready for anything." And so it was decided. Amelia and Zara would serve as ambassadors, splitting their time between the Pegasus and the Cortex homeworld. It was a role that came with its challenges. There were those on both sides who were resistant to change, who viewed their alliance with suspicion and fear. But Amelia and Zara faced each obstacle with a united front, their love for each other a constant source of strength. Zara blossomed in her new role, her natural empathy and gifted mind helping her to navigate the complexities of diplomacy. She learned the ways of her people, mastering her abilities under the tutelage of Cortex masters. And Amelia was always there, supporting and guiding her, marveling at the extraordinary young woman her little girl was becoming. Together, they brokered trade agreements and cultural exchange programs. They mediated disputes and fostered collaborations. Slowly but surely, they were building bridges, closing the distance between worlds. And as the years passed, the legacy grew. The story of the human captain and the Cortex princess who had found family in each other and used that bond to change the galaxy became a legend. A tale of hope passed down through generations. For Amelia and Zara, it was simply their life, filled with the joys and challenges of any family. But they knew, in the quiet moments, when they looked out at the stars together, that they had been part of something extraordinary. They had proven that love, in all its forms, had the power to transcend boundaries, to heal old wounds, and to light the way to a brighter future. And as the Pegasus charted its course through the cosmos, Amelia and Zara at its helm, they knew that whatever adventures lay ahead, they would face them as they always had. Together, a mother and daughter, bound by a love that had birthed a new hope for the galaxy.